The last time anyone saw Emma smile was December 23rd. By New Year's Eve, she had been sitting on that bench for 8 nights straight, and not a single person had stopped until him. This is the story of a little girl who waited in the cold, a stranger who chose to care, and the moment that changed everything on the last night of the year. Some places hold memories like scars. This bench held 8 nights of silence. The bench sat on the corner of Maple and 5th, right across from Martin's grocery. It wasn't special. The wood was worn. The paint was chipped. One of the bolts was loose, so it wobbled slightly when you sat down. But to Emma, it was the only place that mattered, because this was where her mom had said it. "Wait right here, baby. I'll be back before dark." That was December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, 8 days before New Year's Eve. Emma was 7 years old, small for her age, with dark brown hair that her mum always tied into 2 braids. She wore a purple jacket, 3 sizes too big, that used to belong to Sarah, her mother. The jacket smelled like cheap lavender detergent and cigarette smoke. Emma loved that smell. It meant home. That first night, Emma waited until the streetlights came on. Then she waited until the grocery store closed. Then she waited until the night felt too big and too dark. A woman stopped. "Honey, are you lost?" Emma shook her head firmly. "I'm waiting for my mom." "Where is she?" "Working." "Should I call someone?" "No, thank you, she's coming." The woman hesitated, glanced around, then walked away. That was the pattern. People asked once, maybe twice, then they left. By the 3rd night, Emma had become part of the scenery, just another thing people walked past on their way to somewhere else. She learned to sit very still, hands folded, legs crossed, eyes forward. If she didn't move, time didn't hurt as much. If she didn't cry, maybe her mum would be proud. "Big girls don't cry," Sarah used to say when money ran out or the heat got shut off. "We're strong, you and me. We don't break." So Emma didn't break. She waited and waited and waited. By December 28th, people stopped noticing her at all. She had become invisible. Sarah loved her daughter more than anything, but sometimes love isn't enough to hold back the breaking. Sarah Mitchell was 31 years old, but she looked older. Life does that to you when you work 2 jobs and sleep 4 hours a night. She was a waitress at Mario's Diner from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then she cleaned offices downtown from 4 p.m. to midnight. In between, she tried to be a mother. Some days, she succeeded. Most days, she just survived. Emma's father left when she was 2. No letter, no explanation, just gone. Sarah told herself it didn't matter. She could do this alone. She had to do this alone. But doing it alone meant impossible choices. It meant leaving Emma with neighbors who didn't always answer the door. It meant crackers for dinner when the paycheck didn't stretch. It meant telling her daughter to wait on a bench because there was nowhere else safe to leave her. The warning signs had been there for months. The headaches that wouldn't go away, the exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix, the way her hands shook when she tried to hold a coffee cup, the moments where she'd forget where she was or what she was doing. But Sarah couldn't afford to be sick. She couldn't afford to slow down. She couldn't afford to break. So she kept going. December 23rd started like any other day. Sarah woke Emma at 5:30 a.m., made her toast with the last of the peanut butter, walked her to the corner near the bench. "I have to work late tonight, baby. Christmas is coming and we need the extra hours." Emma nodded. She always understood. "Mrs. Martin said you can wait inside the store if you get cold." "Okay, Mama." Sarah knelt down, eye level with her daughter. "I love you more than the whole world." "I love you more than the whole sky," Emma replied. It was their thing, their promise. Sarah kissed her forehead and left. She made it through her shift at the diner, barely. She dropped 2 plates, forgot 3 orders. Her manager pulled her aside. "Sarah, you look terrible. Maybe you should go home." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're shaking." "I need the hours." Her manager sighed. "Just take care of yourself, okay?" Sarah nodded. But she didn't go home. She went to her second job. At 7:47 p.m., while cleaning an office on the 14th floor, Sarah collapsed. One moment she was standing, the next, the world went sideways. Her co-worker, Miguel, found her unconscious on the floor. He called 911 immediately. The paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. They loaded Sarah into the ambulance, checked her vitals, asked Miguel questions he couldn't answer. Does she have any family? I don't know. I barely know her. Any emergency contacts? I don't know. Sarah's phone was in her locker, dead battery. No one could reach her. No one knew about Emma. At the hospital, doctors ran tests: severe exhaustion, dehydration, dangerously low blood pressure, complete physical and mental burnout. Her body had simply given up. They admitted her immediately, sedated her, let her rest for the first time in months. And Emma kept waiting. Sometimes the people trying to help don't know who needs helping most. Sarah woke up on December 24th, Christmas Eve. The room was white and sterile. Machines beeped softly around her. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Then she remembered collapsing, the floor coming up to meet her, the sirens. And then Emma. Sarah tried to sit up. Pain shot through her head. A nurse hurried over. Easy, easy. You need to rest. My daughter, where's my daughter? Mom, you need to calm down. Where is my daughter? The nurse pressed a button. A doctor arrived quickly. Ms. Mitchell, I'm Dr. Patel. You've been unconscious for almost 18 hours. My daughter, Emma, she's 7. She's waiting for me. Where is she? Maple and 5th. The bench. I told her to wait, but Dr. Patel's face changed. And you left your daughter on a street corner. No, it's not like that. I had to work. I didn't have anywhere else. We need to contact child services. No, please, just let me go get her, please. Sarah tried to get out of bed. Her legs gave out. The nurse caught her. Miss Mitchell, you can barely stand. You need to stay here. You don't understand. We'll send someone to check on her, Dr. Patel said. Where exactly is this bench? Sarah gave them the address, crying, shaking. They called the local police precinct, asked them to do a welfare check. But it was Christmas Eve. The city was chaos, domestic disturbances, traffic accidents, 1,000 emergencies more urgent than checking on a bench. The officer who took the call wrote it down, put it in the system, marked it low priority. Kid waiting for mom. Probably fine. We'll check when available. Then he moved on to the next call. No one went to check on Emma, and Sarah, trapped in a hospital bed, could do nothing but wait and pray. If you sit still enough, long enough, you disappear. By December 26th, Emma had developed a system. She arrived at the bench at 3 p.m. every day, right after the library closed. That's where she spent her days now, reading picture books and pretending she had somewhere to be. She sat in the same position. She watched the same road. She counted cars to keep her mind busy. Red cars, 1 point. Blue cars, 2 points. White cars, 0 points, too common. By evening, she'd usually have 47 points. It was a game that made the waiting easier. People walked past her every day. Businessmen in suits, talking into phones. Mothers with strollers, hurrying before dark. Teenagers laughing, earbuds in, eyes down. They all saw her, but they didn't see her. Not really. And on December 27th, a policeman walked by. Emma's heart jumped. Would he ask questions? Would he take her somewhere? He glanced at her, looked away, kept walking. Emma exhaled. She didn't know if she was relieved or disappointed. The cold was getting worse. Her jacket wasn't enough anymore. At night, she tucked her hands into the sleeves and pulled her knees to her chest. She thought about her mom, wondered where she was, wondered if something bad had happened. But then she'd remember, wait right here, I'll be back. Big girls don't cry. So she'd swallow the fear and wait some more. Mrs. Martin, the grocery store owner, noticed her on the 4th day. She came outside with a small bag. Here, she said, handing it to Emma. Inside, a granola bar, an orange, and a juice box. Thank you, Emma whispered. Mrs. Martin's eyes were worried. "Where is your mother, little one?" "Working. Every day." Emma nodded. Mrs. Martin looked like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. After that, she brought something every evening. Not much, just enough. Emma never asked for it. Mrs. Martin never made her feel like charity. It was a quiet kindness, the kind that doesn't need words. But even kindness couldn't make Emma warm enough. Even kindness couldn't make her mother appear. Daniel Morrison was not a hero. He was just tired. But sometimes tired people see what others miss. December 30th, one day before New Year's Eve, Daniel Morrison, 34, software engineer, recently divorced, generally exhausted by life, walked past the bench at 6:47 p.m. He'd had a terrible day. His ex-wife had texted him about splitting their tax return. His boss had added 3 new projects to his already impossible workload. His mother had called to remind him he'd be alone for New Year's. As if he could forget, Daniel just wanted to go home, microwave something, and watch TV until he fell asleep. He wasn't looking for meaning. He wasn't looking for connection. He was just walking. But then he saw her, the girl on the bench. At first, he didn't think much of it. Kids wait for parents all the time. But something made him look again. The way she sat, so still, so resigned. And the cold. God, it was cold. His breath made clouds in front of him. He was wearing a coat, gloves, a scarf. She was wearing a thin purple jacket. Daniel stopped walking. He looked around. No adult nearby, no one watching. The grocery store across the street was closing. The owner was pulling down the metal gate. Daniel looked back at the girl. She hadn't moved. Not my problem, he thought. Someone else probably already checked. Her mom is probably just inside the store. But she wasn't. He could see through the windows, empty. Daniel felt something twist in his chest, a memory, old and sharp. He was 9 years old. His mom was late picking him up from baseball practice. Everyone else had left. The coach had left. The lights were turning off. He waited alone in the dark for 2 hours. When she finally came, she was crying, apologizing. She'd had a flat tire, no cell phone to call, no one to help. He remembered how scared he'd been, how small he'd felt, how badly he'd wanted someone, anyone, to just stay. Daniel took a breath and walked toward the bench. When a stranger becomes a lifeline, every word matters. "Hey!" His voice came out softer than he intended. Emma looked up. Her eyes were brown, tired, and impossibly old for a 7-year-old. "Hi," she said quietly. Daniel kept his distance. He crouched down a few feet away, trying not to be intimidating. "Are you okay?" "Yes." "Are you waiting for someone?" "My mum." Daniel nodded slowly. "How long have you been waiting?" Emma thought about it. "A little while." That answer, calm, practiced, sent a chill down his spine. "Does your mum know you're here?" "Yes. She told me to wait." Daniel glanced at the darkening sky. The streetlights were already on. "Do you know where she is?" Emma shook her head. "She works a lot." Silence. Daniel looked around again. Still no one. He sat down on the other end of the bench. Not too close. Just there. "What's your name?" "Emma." "I'm Daniel." She nodded but didn't say anything else. Daniel pulled out his phone, pretending to check something, but really he was thinking, "What do I do? Call the police? What if her mum shows up and thinks I'm some creep? What if I leave and something happens to her?" He put the phone away. "Emma," he said carefully, "I know you're waiting for your mum, but it's really cold and it's getting late. Can I wait with you?" She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay." And just like that, Emma wasn't alone anymore. Time moves differently when you're waiting for someone who might not come. They sat together in silence for a while. Cars passed. Buses came and went. Emma swung her feet slightly, not quite reaching the ground. Daniel watched her from the corner of his eye. She was so small, so quiet. After about 20 minutes, Daniel took off his scarf. "Here," he said, holding it out. You look cold. Emma hesitated. It's okay, Daniel said. I have a coat. You don't. She took it slowly. Thank you. You're welcome. Another silence. Then Emma spoke. Do you have kids? Daniel shook his head. No, just me. Do you have a mum? Yeah, she lives in Florida now. Do you miss her? Sometimes. Emma nodded like that made sense. I miss my mum, she said quietly. Even though she's just at work. Daniel's chest tightened. I bet she misses you too. Emma didn't respond. A few more minutes passed. Then Daniel asked, Are you hungry? Emma hesitated. A little. Daniel stood up. Wait here. I'll be right back. He crossed the street to Martin's grocery. The owner, an older woman with kind eyes, was about to lock up. Excuse me, Daniel said quickly. Is the store still open? Mrs. Martin looked past him at the bench. At Emma. Her expression changed, relief mixed with worry. For her? She asked. Yes. Mrs. Martin unlocked the door. Come. Inside, Daniel grabbed a sandwich, a bottle of water, a bag of chips, and a chocolate bar. When he went to pay, Mrs. Martin shook her head. No charge. Are you sure? That little girl has been sitting there for a week, Mrs. Martin said quietly, her voice breaking. Every night I feed her. Every night I hope someone will stop. Someone should have stopped sooner. Daniel felt shame wash over him. I should have noticed earlier. You notice now, Mrs. Martin said. That's what matters. Please, help her. Daniel nodded and took the food back to Emma. She ate slowly, carefully, like she was trying to make it last. Thank you, she whispered between bites. You're welcome. When she finished, she folded the wrapper neatly and put it in her backpack. Then she went back to waiting. Daniel stayed. Sometimes the only way to pass time is to fill it with truth. An hour passed, then another. The temperature kept dropping. Daniel checked his phone. 8:43 p.m. He looked at Emma. Can I ask you something? She nodded. What grade are you in? Second. Do you like school? Yeah, I like reading. What do you like to read? Stories about animals and magic. Daniel smiled. I liked those too when I was your age. Emma looked at him. What do you read now? Mostly stuff for work. Boring stuff. What do you do? I work with computers. That sounds boring. Daniel laughed. It is sometimes. Emma almost smiled. Almost. They sat quietly for a moment, then Daniel spoke again. Emma, can I ask you something else? Okay. How long have you really been waiting? Emma looked down at her hands. Since before Christmas? Daniel's stomach dropped. Every day? She nodded. The same bench? Another nod. Have you talked to anyone? A teacher? A neighbor? Emma shook her head. My mum said not to talk to strangers, but you're talking to me. You stayed, Emma said simply. Those two words hit Daniel harder than anything. You stayed. Such a small thing, but it meant everything. There's a moment in every crisis when you have to choose between safe and right. By 10 p.m., Daniel knew he had to make a call. Not to the police. Not yet. He needed to try something else first. Emma, he said gently, do you know your mum's phone number? She recited it perfectly. Daniel's heart broke a little. Of course she knew it. She'd probably been repeating it to herself every night. Can I try calling her? Emma looked scared. What if she's mad? She won't be mad at you, Daniel said. I promise. Emma nodded slowly. Daniel dialed. It rang and rang and rang. Voicemail. Hi, this is Sarah. Leave a message. Daniel hesitated. Then, Hi, Sarah. My name is Daniel Morrison. I'm sitting with your daughter Emma at the bench on Maple and Fifth. She's safe, but she's been waiting for a long time. Please call this number when you get this. It's important. He hung up. Emma looked at him with wide eyes. Will she call back? I don't know, sweetheart. I hope so. They waited. 10:15 p.m., 10:30 p.m., 10:45 p.m. No call. Daniel checked his phone again. Then he made another decision. Emma, I need to call someone who can help us find your mom. Is that okay? Emma's eyes filled with tears. Will they take me away? No, Daniel said firmly. They'll just help us find her. Promise. Daniel took her small hand. I promise I won't leave you. Emma nodded, tears spilling over. Daniel called 911. Not all heroes wear uniforms, but sometimes the ones who do show up exactly when needed. The police arrived at 11:02 p.m. 2 officers, one older man, Officer Patterson, one younger woman, Officer Reyes. They approached carefully, kindly. Hi there, Officer Reyes said, crouching down. What's your name? Emma. Hi, Emma. I'm Officer Reyes. This is Officer Patterson. We're here to help. Emma looked at Daniel. He squeezed her hand. It's okay. Officer Patterson turned to Daniel. And you are? Daniel Morrison. I was walking by and saw her sitting alone. She's been waiting for her mom. How long? Since before Christmas, she says. Officer Patterson's jaw tightened. Do we have a name for mom? Sarah Mitchell. Officer Reyes was already on her radio, typing into her mobile device. A moment later, her face changed. Sarah Mitchell. There's a notation here. December 24th. Welfare check requested from St. Mary's Hospital. Daniel's blood ran cold. Hospital. Officer Reyes nodded, reading. Patient Sarah Mitchell requested police check on minor child at Maple and 5th. Low priority. Marked pending. The silence that followed was deafening. Emma's small voice broke it. Is my mama okay? Officer Reyes knelt down, her eyes gentle. Honey, your mama is at the hospital, but I'm going to call right now and find out how she is, okay? Emma started crying harder. Is she sick? I don't know yet, sweetie. But we're going to find out. Officer Patterson looked at Daniel, then pulled him aside while Officer Reyes made the call. You did the right thing. She's been here a week, Daniel said, his voice shaking with anger. A week. The hospital called it in on Christmas Eve and no one came. Officer Patterson's face was grim. Christmas is always chaos. Things fall through the cracks. She's a child, a 7-year-old child sitting alone in the cold. I know. How does that happen? Officer Patterson had no answer. Officer Reyes returned, her expression softer now. Emma, your mum is okay. She's at St. Mary's Hospital. She's been very sick and tired, but she's getting better. Can I see her? Yes, honey. We're going to take you there right now. Emma looked at Daniel. Will you come? Daniel looked at the officers. Officer Reyes nodded. If that's okay with you, sir. She clearly trusts you. I promised I wouldn't leave, Daniel said. Some reunions hurt as much as they heal. St. Mary's Hospital was bright and sterile. Too bright, too clean. Emma held Daniel's hand tightly as they walked through the corridors. Officer Reyes led the way. Your mum's on the 4th floor, she said gently. They took the elevator. Emma was shaking. Daniel squeezed her hand. It's gonna be okay. What if she's really sick? Then we'll be there for her. The elevator dinged, 4th floor. They walked to room 412. Officer Reyes knocked softly. Miss Mitchell, it's Officer Reyes. I have someone here to see you. From inside, Emma. The voice was weak, broken, desperate. Emma let go of Daniel's hand and ran. Love doesn't fix everything, but it's where healing begins. Sarah was sitting up in bed, hooked to an IV, looking pale and exhausted. But when she saw Emma, everything else disappeared. Baby! Mama! Emma crashed into her mother's arms. Sarah held her so tight it hurt, sobbing into her daughter's hair. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. It's okay, Mama. No, it's not. It's not okay. I left you and You were sick. I should have had a plan. I should have had someone. Mama, stop. Emma pulled back, looking at her mother with those impossibly old eyes. It's okay. I waited, like you told me. That broke Sarah completely. She doubled over, crying harder than she ever had before. Officer Reyes stepped forward. Miss Mitchell, we need to talk about what happens next. Sarah looked up, terror in her eyes. "Are you taking her away?" "That's not my decision. But child services will need to be involved. Please don't take her. She's all I have." "We're not trying to punish you," Officer Reyes said gently, "but we need to make sure Emma is safe." "She is safe. With me. I couldn't." Sarah couldn't finish. She looked past the officers to Daniel, standing in the doorway. You stayed with her?" "Yes." "Why?" Daniel's voice was quiet. "Because no one else did." Sarah started crying again. "Thank you. God, thank you. I don't know how to—" "You don't need to thank me," Daniel said, but Sarah shook her head. "Yes, I do. You saved my daughter when I couldn't, when no one else would." Emma climbed back onto the bed, curling into her mother's side. "He gave me his scarf and food, and he told me stories." Sarah looked at Daniel with such raw gratitude it was almost painful. "I don't know what to say." "Just get better," Daniel said softly. "That's all that matters. Recovery isn't a straight line. It's 100 small steps forward and a few back." Sarah stayed in the hospital for 4 more days. Emma stayed with a temporary foster family, a kind older couple who had raised 6 kids of their own. It wasn't home, but it was safe, and Emma could visit her mom every day. Child Services assigned them a caseworker named Maria Rodriguez. No relation to the grocery store owner, but just as kind. Maria was firm but compassionate. "Sarah, you can't do this alone anymore. I don't have anyone. Then we'll build a support system. You'll be assigned to emergency assistance programs, food, housing, childcare. I can't afford—" "You don't have to afford it. That's what these programs are for." Maria also connected Sarah with a therapist who specialized in burnout and trauma, and a social worker who helped her negotiate better conditions at work. It wasn't magic, it wasn't instant, but it was help. Real help. For the first time in years, Sarah wasn't drowning alone. Daniel visited too. He brought Emma books from the library. He sat with Sarah and talked about nothing important. He just showed up. On December 31st, New Year's Eve, Sarah was finally discharged. Maria had helped arrange for them to move into transitional housing. A small 2-bedroom apartment with actual heat and subsidized rent they could afford. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. That evening, Sarah sat on the couch with Emma, both of them still processing everything that had happened. "Mama?" "Yeah, baby." "Can we go see Daniel?" Sarah looked at her daughter. "Why?" "Because it's New Year's Eve, and he helped us, and I think he's lonely too." Sarah's heart broke a little. 7 years old and already understanding loneliness. "Okay," she said softly. "Let's go. Sometimes the people we save end up saving us back." Daniel was sitting on his couch, beer in hand, TV on, not really watching. He'd thought about Emma and Sarah a lot over the past few days, visited them in the hospital, made sure they had what they needed. But tonight, he was alone again. He checked his phone, 11:47 p.m., almost midnight, almost a new year. And he had no one to celebrate with. Then someone knocked on his door. Daniel frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. He looked through the peephole. Emma and Sarah. He opened the door quickly. "Emma, Sarah?" Emma smiled, the first real smile he'd seen from her. "Hi, Daniel. What are you? How did you—" Sarah stepped forward, looking healthier than when he'd last seen her, but still tired. "The hospital had your contact information. Emma wanted to see you. Is everything okay?" "Yes, we wanted to thank you, properly." Emma was holding something, a card, homemade, crayon drawings of fireworks and a bench and 2 stick figures sitting together. "I made this for you," Emma said. Daniel took it carefully, inside in wobbly handwriting. "Thank you for staying. Love." Emma. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "Emma, this is beautiful. Do you like it?" "I love it." Sarah spoke quietly. "Can we come in? Just for a minute?" Daniel stepped aside. They sat in his small living room. Sarah looked around, clean but empty. No photos, no decorations, just functional. Daniel, I need to say something. He looked at her. You don't... Yes, I do. You saved my daughter's life, not just by keeping her safe that night, but by seeing her, by refusing to walk past, by staying when it would have been easier to leave. Daniel's voice was thick. Anyone would have done the same. No, Sarah said firmly. They wouldn't have. They didn't. For 7 days, hundreds of people walked past that bench, and you were the only one who stopped. Silence. Then Sarah spoke again. I don't know what you're doing for New Year's. Nothing, Daniel admitted. Would you want to watch the fireworks with us? From the roof. Daniel looked at Emma. She was smiling at him, hopeful, trusting. I'd like that, he said softly. I'd really like that. Every ending is just a beginning wearing a different face. They went to the roof of Daniel's building. It wasn't fancy, just a flat space with a rusty railing and a view of the city. But tonight, it was perfect. The sky was clear, the air was cold, but not unbearable. And for the first time in a long time, none of them were alone. At 11:59 p.m., people in the streets below started counting down. 10. Emma grabbed both Sarah's hand and Daniel's hand. 9. Sarah looked at Daniel. Their eyes met. 8. Thank you, she mouthed. He nodded. 7. 6. 5. Emma squeezed both their hands tighter. 4. 3. 2. 1. Happy New Year. Fireworks exploded across the sky, brilliant colors painting the darkness. Red, gold, blue, silver. Emma gasped. They're so pretty. Sarah pulled her daughter close, kissing the top of her head. Happy New Year, baby. Happy New Year, Mama. Emma turned to Daniel. Happy New Year, Daniel. Happy New Year, Emma. Daniel stood beside them, watching the fireworks. Not family, not yet, but not a stranger anymore either. Something in between, something new, something worth holding on to. As the fireworks continued, Emma looked up at him. Are you still sad? Daniel thought about it, about his divorce, his empty apartment, his lonely life. And then he thought about this moment, this roof, these two people who had somehow become part of his world. Not right now, he said honestly. Good. She hugged him. And Daniel, who had spent so many nights alone, who had felt invisible in his own life, hugged her back. Sarah put her hand on his shoulder. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. They stood there together as the city celebrated around them. And as the clock struck 12:01 a.m. on January 1st, they made a silent promise, not spoken, but understood. We won't let each other disappear. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. It's June now, summer in the city, hot and loud and full of life. Emma is 8 years old. She still thinks about the bench sometimes, but she doesn't go there anymore. She doesn't need to. Sarah got a new job, one job, with actual benefits, and hours that let her pick Emma up from school. They moved to a better apartment, still small, still not perfect, but home. Emma joined a soccer team. She's terrible at it, but she loves it. Daniel comes to her games sometimes. He's not her dad. They don't call him that. But he's there, and that's enough. Last week, Emma asked him, do you still think about that night? Every day, Daniel said. Me too. Are you okay? He asked. Emma thought about it. Yeah, she said. I think I am. Good. Are you okay? Daniel smiled. Yeah, I think I am too. And he meant it, because sometimes saving someone else saves you too. Sarah works one job now. She sees a therapist every week. She sleeps better, eats better, takes care of herself. Not because someone told her to, but because she learned that she matters too, that she can't pour from an empty cup, that asking for help isn't weakness, it's survival. And Daniel, he's not alone anymore. He has Sunday dinners with Sarah and Emma. He helps Emma with homework. He texts Sarah to check in. They're not together romantically. Maybe someday, maybe not. But they're family now, the kind you choose. The kind built on a moment of kindness that changed everything. Last week, they walked past the bench together. All three of them. Emma stopped. stared at it. "I used to be so scared," she said quietly. Sarah knelt down beside her. "I know, baby, but I'm not scared anymore." "Why not?" Emma looked at Daniel, then at her mom. "Because I know now, even when people leave, someone will stay." This is a story about waiting, but it's also about staying. About a mother who loved too hard and broke. About a daughter who learned to survive. About a stranger who chose to care. As this year ends and a new one begins, maybe we can all try to be a little more like Daniel, to notice the people who've become invisible, to sit with someone who's waiting, to stay when it's easier to walk away. Because you never know, the person you stop for might change your life just as much as you change theirs. And maybe, just maybe, we can build a world where no child has to wait alone, where burnout is recognized before it breaks people, where asking for help is met with kindness instead of judgment, where a single act of care can ripple into something bigger. This New Year's Eve, as you celebrate and make your resolutions, remember Emma, remember Sarah, remember Daniel, and remember, the smallest moment of attention can save someone's entire world. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to The Day Everything Changed for more stories about moments that transform us, strangers who become family, and the choices that define who we are. And this New Year's Eve, when you see someone waiting, someone struggling, someone invisible, maybe stay a little longer, maybe be the one who doesn't walk past, because that's how everything changes. That's how we save each other. Dedicated to everyone who's ever waited for someone to come back, to everyone who's ever burned out trying to do it all alone, and to everyone who chose to stay when they could have walked away. You matter. Your kindness matters. And you might just be someone's Daniel,